Imagine carrying a backpack filled with rocks day in and day out. You tell yourself, because the rocks are part of your journey, part of your story. But here's the truth. The weight is crushing you, and every step you take feels heavier, slower, more exhausting. That's exactly what it feels like when you hold on to someone, a past, or a chapter that no longer serves you. We're wired to believe that love means holding on no matter what, but real love, self-love, sometimes asks the hardest question: are you willing to let go to free yourself? Letting go is not weakness. It's courage wrapped in vulnerability. It's standing in front of your reflection and saying, I deserve peace. I deserve joy. I deserve me. Holding on might feel safe, familiar, but comfort is not always kindness, and familiarity is not always love. There's a moment, tiny yet seismic, when you realize that the person, the past, or the relationship you're clutching tightly doesn't belong in your story anymore. And that's where self-love begins, in the willingness to release, to untangle yourself from what's weighing you down. I want you to feel this, really feel it. Letting go isn't about them. It's about you. It's about clearing the space inside your heart for growth, for light, for a love that doesn't come with conditions that dim your spirit. Every person, every memory, every regret you refuse to release holds you hostage to someone else's story. And here's the kicker: your story matters too. Your peace matters more than proving anything to anyone else. So as we step into this conversation today, know this letting go is not losing. It is winning, the kind of victory that comes when you honor your own heart above all else. And if you're ready, we're going to explore exactly how to do that step by step, and why doing it is the ultimate act of self-love. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. Holding on can feel like love, but too often it's fear masquerading as devotion. Fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping into a life that's bigger than the one you've clung to. And the hardest part, you don't always notice it. It creeps into your mind and whispers, I can't let them go. I'll lose something. I'll be less without them. And those whispers, though quiet, are venomous. They slowly erode your confidence, your joy, your very sense of self. Here's the truth. The attachment that costs your peace is not love. Real love doesn't chain you to someone else's choices, moods, or inconsistencies. Real love is free. It expands, it nourishes. And self-love, the kind that heals, protects, and empowers, demands that you recognize when attachment is no longer serving you. When the weight of someone else's presence keeps you from being fully yourself, letting go isn't an option, it's a necessity. Think about it. How often have you bent your truth, muted your voice, or sacrificed your happiness to maintain a connection that drained you? That's not love. That's survival mode disguised as romance, friendship, or loyalty. And survival mode is exhausting. It diminishes your light, your creativity, your capacity to thrive. Every moment you stay bound to what no longer nourishes you is a moment you could have spent rediscovering your own soul, celebrating your own growth, and stepping boldly into the life you deserve. Letting go is a radical act. It's saying, I am bigger than this fear. I am worthy of peace. I am deserving of love that uplifts rather than depletes. It doesn't happen in a single breath or a single day, but every small act of release chips away at the chains you didn't even know you were carrying. And when you finally let go, the world feels lighter. Your heart feels wider. Your power feels unmistakably yours again. Letting go is terrifying. There's no sugarcoating it. You've invested time, energy, and emotion into someone or something that shaped your days, your thoughts, your dreams. And now the idea of releasing it feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into emptiness and wondering if you'll fall or fly. That fear, that's normal. That's human. But here's the truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. And self-love is what gives you that courage. Every act of letting go asks you to confront your worth. It asks you to say, I am enough without clinging to what no longer serves me. That's revolutionary. That's fierce. Because most of us have been conditioned to believe that holding on is the measure of love, that if we release, we're failures. But the opposite is true. Releasing when it's needed is an act of respect for yourself, for your growth, and even for the other person. You are honoring your truth, your boundaries, and your capacity for joy. Think about this. What if holding on was never about them, but about protecting the version of yourself you don't want to face? Letting go strips away that armor. It exposes the raw, authentic you, the one capable of self-compassion, resilience, and unconditional love for your own heart. That exposure feels vulnerable, yes, but vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is power. It's the force that reconnects you to your own life, your own dreams, your own sacred space inside your heart. And here's the most beautiful part. When you have the courage to release, you open the door to freedom, resentment from regret, from the constant questioning of whether you are enough. Freedom to choose experiences and relationships that lift you rather than tether you. And the more you practice this courage, the more self-love flows until releasing becomes not just an act, but a lifestyle, a way to honor your own worth in every decision you make. One of the hardest parts of self-love is knowing when to release. Often we cling because we fear missing out, because the heart wants what it wants, even when the mind screams otherwise. But there are signs, subtle yet powerful, that whisper the truth. It's time to let go. Your peace feels fragmented. You wake up with knots in your stomach instead of calm. Conversations leave you drained instead of nourished. And when you imagine life without this person or situation, there's a quiet relief. Even if it scares you, that relief is your heart signaling, I've carried enough. I'm ready to breathe. Self-love is recognizing these signs before they become crises. It's tuning in to your emotional body and understanding that discomfort isn't punishment, it's guidance. When someone or something consistently diminishes your joy, disrespects your boundaries, or keeps you tethered to fear, self-love whispers you are worthy of more, and that whisper grows louder the longer you ignore it. Every ignored warning sign is like staying in a room filling with smoke. You think you can endure it, but eventually it will consume you. Here's the beauty of awareness. Once you see the signs, you have a choice. You can remain in the cycle of exhaustion, resentment, and longing, or you can honor yourself enough to step away. This is where courage meets clarity, and clarity is liberating. It frees you from the illusion that holding on is loyalty, and it reminds you that the greatest loyalty you can show is to yourself. Self-love doesn't demand that you erase the past or hate the person. It asks only that you honor your life and your heart. It's choosing what aligns with your growth, your well-being, and your peace. And every time you heed these signs, you reclaim a piece of yourself that's been lost in attachment. You create space for healing, for joy, for relationships that reflect the love you already hold inside. Letting go doesn't mean erasing memories or pretending the past never existed. It doesn't mean turning your back on love or shutting your heart down. It means detaching with intention, releasing what no longer serves you while honoring the lessons it taught you. Emotional detachment is a radical form of self-love. It's saying, I will carry the wisdom, not the weight. I will honor the growth, not the pain. And here's the truth: detaching doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. The hardest barrier to letting go is guilt. We carry guilt like a second skin, telling ourselves, if I release them, I'm selfish. If I walk away, I'm cruel. But guilt is a shadow, a trickster, keeping you tethered to what's already gone. True self-love whispers the truth. Releasing doesn't negate the love you felt. It honors it. It acknowledges the beauty of the connection while refusing to let it define your present or limit your future. Regret is another trap. We replay moments, thinking if we had acted differently, we could have fixed it. But here's the revelation: no amount of replaying changes the present. Letting go allows you to shift from being trapped in what was to embracing what can be. Emotional detachment isn't a denial of feeling. It's a reclamation of your power. You honor your emotions without letting them dictate your worth or your choices. When you detach with compassion for yourself and for them, you create space to breathe freely, to dream expansively, and to cultivate relationships that reflect your values and uplift your spirit. Emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a conscious decision each day to choose peace over pain, freedom over fear, and self-love over obligation. And in this practice, you discover something profound. Letting go doesn't hurt nearly as much as staying trapped ever did. The liberation you feel, the lightness in your chest, the clarity in your mind is a direct reflection of the love you've shown yourself by choosing to release. Letting go becomes infinitely lighter when forgiveness enters the equation. And I'm not talking about forgiving to excuse someone else's behavior. I'm talking about forgiving to free yourself. Forgiveness is an act of self-love. It's the conscious decision to untangle your heart from anger, resentment, and the what-ifs that keep you chained to the past. When you forgive, you're not condoning the hurt, you're reclaiming your life from its shadow. Think about this. Every time you hold on to bitterness, you're carrying someone else's mistakes like they're your own burden. It steals your joy, clouds your clarity, and weighs down your spirit. Forgiveness isn't a favor to them. It's a gift to you. It's the bridge that allows your heart to step into freedom, the first breath of air after years of suffocating in old wounds. Forgiving doesn't happen in a single moment. It's a journey of small, intentional steps. Some days it will feel impossible. Your mind will replay the pain and your heart will resist. That's human. But self-love demands persistence. It asks you to say, I deserve peace. I deserve to live without the chains of this past. And as you practice forgiveness, you'll notice the shift. Anger softens, regret loses its grip, and the space that once felt heavy with pain begins to feel light with possibility. Here's the transformative truth. When you forgive, you aren't just releasing someone else. You're releasing yourself from being defined by the hurt. You reclaim your power, your joy, and your ability to love without fear. Forgiveness turns what felt like an ending into a beginning. It's the emotional soil in which new love, self-compassion, and clarity can grow. And the beauty of this process is profound. The more you forgive, the easier it becomes to let go without guilt, without regret, without the weight of what could have been. Forgiveness transforms release from an act of loss into a declaration of self-love. It is the ultimate proof that your heart belongs first to you. Self-love doesn't end at release. Once you let go, the next step is protecting your heart. And that requires boundaries, clear, unwavering, non-negotiable boundaries. Boundaries are the armor of self-respect, the declaration that you will not allow anything or anyone to diminish your peace again. They are not walls built out of fear. They are gates built from courage and clarity. Think about it. How often do we let people back into our lives, into our hearts, under the guise of I forgive or I still care, only to find ourselves reliving the same pain? Boundaries prevent that cycle. They are the love letter you write to yourself that says, I am not a doormat. I am not disposable. I will not compromise my peace to satisfy someone else's comfort. And here's the powerful part. When you set boundaries, you are teaching the world how to treat you. You are embodying self-respect in its most raw, beautiful form. Boundaries can take many shapes. Sometimes it's silence where there was once constant contact. Sometimes it's saying no to emotional manipulation or toxic patterns. Sometimes it's walking away from a friendship, a job, or a family dynamic that no longer honors your heart. Every time you uphold a boundary, you reinforce the truth that your emotional well-being matters. This is where self-love transforms into self-preservation. Letting go without boundaries is like releasing a balloon into the wind without tying a string. You might free yourself, but chaos can pull you back into old patterns. Boundaries give structure to freedom. They make release sustainable. They make growth possible. And the most beautiful part, boundaries don't make you bitter. They make you whole. They allow your heart to heal, your spirit expand, your soul to breathe freely. In protecting your heart, you are not only honoring yourself, but also inviting relationships and experiences that reflect the love, respect, and joy you deserve. There's a moment after letting go when the air feels different, lighter, clearer, almost electric with possibility. That moment is freedom. And freedom is the reward for choosing yourself over what no longer serves you. Self-love lives here in this space where your heart is no longer weighed down by attachment, resentment, or fear. It's the place where your spirit can stretch, breathe, and remember what it feels like to truly be alive. Embracing freedom is not about ignoring your past. It's about honoring it without letting it dictate your present. It's realizing that every moment you spent clinging has brought you here to a life where you can choose peace, clarity, and joy above all else. The heart that has learned to release knows how to celebrate the small victories. The first day you wake without dread, the first night you sleep without tension, the first smile that comes without hesitation. These are not minor milestones. They are proof that self-love works. And here's the subtle magic. When you embrace this freedom, you begin to attract what truly aligns with your values, your growth, and your joy. Relationships become mutual, supportive, and nourishing. Opportunities unfold that were previously blocked by the weight of attachment. You begin to live with intention rather than obligation, choosing moments, people, and experiences that uplift your soul rather than deplete it. Freedom also brings clarity. You start to see patterns you were blind to before. You understand your worth on a level deeper than words. You realize that happiness was never something to chase. It was always something to claim by honoring yourself, by setting boundaries, and by letting go of what doesn't serve you. This is the essence of self-love, choosing yourself, protecting your peace, and celebrating the liberation that comes when you release. When you embrace this freedom fully, you aren't just surviving, you are thriving. You are walking into a life designed by your heart, led by your courage, and illuminated by your love for yourself. Letting go is just the beginning. The real challenge and the real triumph comes in sustaining that self-love every single day. Life will always test you. Old patterns will try to pull you back. Doubts will whisper, was I too harsh? Did I make the right choice? And this is where resilience becomes your superpower. Self-love isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a commitment, a promise you make to yourself each morning that your peace, your joy, and your worth will never be negotiable. Sustaining self-love requires awareness. It requires listening to your heart before anyone else's opinion. It requires saying no when it matters, even when saying no feels uncomfortable. And it requires reminding yourself constantly that your value is inherent, not contingent on anyone's validation, affection, or approval. Every small act of self-respect, turning down toxic invitations, prioritizing your mental health, speaking kindly to yourself, is a brick in the foundation of a life built on self-love. But sustaining self-love also demands compassion. You will stumble. You will face days when memories pull at your heart, when loneliness tempts you to reach backward. That's normal. Self-love is not perfection, it's persistence. It's meeting yourself in those moments, holding your own hand and saying, I am enough, I am worthy, I will continue. Every time you rise after a setback, every time you reaffirm your boundaries, every time you choose peace over pain, you deepen your love for yourself and reinforce the life you've intentionally created. And here's the profound truth: the more consistently you nurture self-love, the easier letting go becomes in the future. Each act of release becomes less about loss and more about liberation. You learn that life flows more freely when your heart is untethered. You learn that your power lies not in holding on, but in the courage to release, the wisdom to protect, and the love to continue growing. Sustaining self-love is the ultimate act of courage. It is a daily declaration that you will never shrink, never dim, never compromise your soul for anyone or anything that doesn't honor your worth. Here's the ultimate truth. Self-love is not a destination, it's a journey, and letting go is one of its most profound milestones. To release someone, something, or a chapter of your life that no longer serves you is not a sign of failure. It is the bravest act of love you can give yourself. It is the acknowledgement that your heart, your mind, and your soul deserve freedom, peace, and joy. Every tear you shed, every fear you confront, every boundary you uphold is a testament to the power, resilience, and beauty that live inside you. Letting go transforms you. It teaches you that your happiness is not contingent on anyone else's presence. It reminds you that your worth is inherent, unshakable, and sovereign. It allows you to reclaim the energy, the clarity, and the light that was once trapped in attachment, resentment, or obligation. And when you release, you open space for something greater, for love that nourishes, for opportunities that inspire, for experiences that align with your true self. The journey of letting go is not painless, but it is purposeful. It is a declaration that you will no longer settle for less than you deserve, that you will not allow fear, guilt, or the comfort of familiarity to dictate your life, that you will honor yourself first, and in doing so, honor the infinite possibilities of your own heart. So remember this: holding on may feel safe, but letting go is liberating. Clinging may feel loving, but releasing is transformative. And choosing yourself over everything and everyone that diminishes your spirit is the purest, most courageous act of love you will ever experience. Let go, heal, rise, and watch as the life you were always meant to live unfolds brighter, freer, and more beautiful than you ever imagined.